Alright, here we go. This is a custom 1v1 on Duel between the blue player on the top left corner, mrnoone1 in the Tomcat Striker, and his opponent, the green team, the green player, not a green team. I guess you are a one-man team in AirMech if you are playing a 1v1, but it is the green player in the bottom right-hand corner, Valinor in the Black Ops Striker. So we do have Striker versus Striker in this game. 1v1, but it's very, very unique 1v1, I would say, especially in this build. And it is a no moneymaker on Valinor's side 1v1. mrnoone going with full socketed moneymakers, pretty standard, and Valinor actually doesn't really have anything pre-built except for, let's see what has he done. No, he just has 2 Jackals in his build queue, and oh, he did upgrade 3 abilities, 1 Guardian, and does have Creep upgrade going, and does have missiles, Striker missiles, air-to-air missiles going, and does go straight for a forward defense with his bunkered infantry, and does put Jackals at his close. But mrnoone immediately going with brutes, or not brutes, busters. Everything is like they have the same name here in AirMech nowadays, like Tango. Well, that was completely the wrong thing. I was going to go with Jackal Joker, but for some reason Tango popped in my head. But now, speaking of Jackals, Valinor is sending a couple Jackals on the right side, and at the same time, he is going with more Jackals to attack this Moneymaker here. So he is going with heavy harass, especially in Moneymakers. mrnoone already clearing quite a lot over there at the mid. So mrnoone looks like he will be able to grab the mid, although losing 2 moneymakers at his close. Valinor now does retreat, but probably with this extra Blaster Guardian. Oh, barely saves that. mrnoone barely saves that that moneymaker from getting killed by Valinor. And now mrnoone now creating even more unit line there at the mid, but the Jackals finally getting killed by those passing creeps. It took a little bit of life off mrnoone, but you can't really see here on this interface in Duel on version 2 in this patch. And now Valinor with even more Jackals, gonna go for another moneymaker probably. Yes, gonna go for more moneymakers. You know, with going no moneymaker against moneymaker play, you definitely do have to start destroying as many moneymakers as you can to make up that difference in credit cost. And Valinor does have 5 Longhorn in queue while he is doing this harass, so he will be able to drop those Longhorn out once he finishes this harass attempt. Does kill quite a lot of moneymakers in that attack, so he killed these 2, killed 1 more, so 3 moneymakers in trade for those Jackals. And if mrnoone doesn't rebuild them anytime soon, then he probably will be able to actually pretty closely make up that difference in credit income. And now Valinor sending those Longhorn from his close, gonna be able to create a nice Longhorn line here. Nothing else to support it. No AA, no healing units, no nothing. But mrnoone now definitely has the mid fairly secure. Doesn't have it super surrounded, but will probably start to pump out more units and get it more defended toward the front. Valinor sending again from his fort, so he will be able to create an even more destructive line there of Longhorn, and now even supporting it with healing units, AA, and a Bucky. Kind of random, that 1 Bucky, but he is now starting to make quite a very mixed unit composition, and now bringing out his Longhorn as well. So now mrnoone grabbing that mid, creating 2 defensive lines, 1 here and 1 here, just to prevent the potential incoming tanks. And Valinor are going to be able to pump out more units, not hitting his unit cap quite yet, but will probably have to pump out generators sometime soon if he wants to continue expanding his army. And now bringing a Longhorn for probably even more extended moneymaker harass. mrnoone didn't rebuild any of his moneymakers, so that was a little weird. I would have expected him to rebuild a little bit. And now responding to this harass, Valinor already able to kill 2 of the one of the moneymakers. This socket was completely empty, and Valinor ditching that Longhorn, and mrnoone able to get it killed. That initial shots from that Longhorn that was sitting there already put enough damage to such that mrnoone didn't really have to put too much out on the field, or too much damage out by his own AirMech to actually finish off that Longhorn. And now does have artillery out to combat Valinor's line of units, but Valinor does have 1 Sonya, and Valinor killing mrnoone in the air. I think that was due to Striker rockets. And now Valinor continuing to pump out even more and more units, now hitting his unit cap, or at least coming very, very close to it. And those generators actually expand your unit cap before you even put them out on the field, I think. No, that is a little bit weird. I'm not really sure why his unit cap is so high. even though he doesn't have mid, and it's significantly, it was pretty much higher than mrnoone1's. Yeah, I think it does raise your unit cap, even though they are in your queue. I think that is a bug currently, but now Valinor forced to pull back just a little bit. Those Archies doing quite a lot of damage. Are those Archies or are they Arties here on Duel? I don't think Archies are as required. Those are Arties, probably rapid Artie actually, or might be, I'm not sure. The 10% range actually is quite significant in artillery, especially, and Valinor killing mrnoone1 again with those air-to-air rockets, and mrnoone1 throwing out the sad face. And so let's see how Valinor decides to approach this middle outpost. Has that Sonya down out on the field, and he has 72 unit cap now, just pumping out even more and more units, and does have plenty of credits. mrnoone1 is floating about the same as Valinor is as well, actually. So they, you know, this unit cap problem, not necessarily problem, but the entire way to control units via this unit cap system is showing itself now. And Valinor does have to pull back a little bit. These artillery are actually still doing quite a lot of damage. As you can see, those numbers are quite high. And Valinor pulling back even more, just a little bit, but not too much. Just tiny bits at a time, I guess, just to keep them out of these tanks' range. However, this Buster is still within tank range, and now Valinor is just queuing up bombs, going to bomb down what he can. Let's see if he can kill some artillery. However, those artillery are supported by honeypots. He does get one. One of them actually, I think, was killed by Bucky rockets, not just the bombs that he's been dropping, and not actually able to kill anything. Those honeypots are still going to be able to keep everything alive. Another Buster going down for mrnoone1. Actually, that might have just been that Buster being put down after healing. And now Valinor sending out some tanks, has much, well, not necessarily much more units, but pretty even in terms of the unit cap. It was about 58 to 50 or 62 or something like that, so it wasn't that drastic. And Valinor is probably going to be able to bust through this. mrnoone1 going to be trying to defend with Longhorn coming out. I don't know if he'll be able to hold this outpost, but I think Valinor will at the very least be able to neutralize this. He has only one infantry up left. Does go down to neutral, and Valinor with 6 Longhorn in this, or no, 5 Longhorn in the area. One did go down, and 1 Seeker, and just pumping out even more and more and more. And mrnoone1 without outpost control is definitely okay. Now he decides to reposition his units, and does have to bring it from his close, or from his forward, but he will have 1 outpost distance longer to travel than Valinor for this reinforcement, but does finish off Valinor in the air, and with that might be able to actually finish him off. I don't know if Valinor is going to be putting any credits into respawn. And might be able to actually finish off the majority of these Longhorn before Valinor comes back to the fight. No, but he does grab the outpost back under his control, but after grabbing the outpost, does not have any recharge energy, and definitely did spend money on respawn there. Definitely had enough in the bank to do that, but the outpost has gone back down to neutral, has 4 infantry, 4 creeps that he did bring with him. Let's see if he can bring it back under his control. No, it does not, so he cannot dump those tanks out. So let's see if he can actually, okay, he is starting to send from his close. Let's see if Valinor, Valinor actually has moved the majority of these units over here, and actually probably lost a couple as well. And getting killed once again by a Sam this time, mrnoone1. I'm assuming that is a Sam spawned from one of the Buckies that got killed. But now Valinor has quite a lot of units over here. mrnoone1 back into the fight very, very quickly. Again, spending money on respawn. And very low on health as well, so I don't know, maybe might be finished off here in the air by Valinor. Not prioritizing on taking the outpost back, but his creeps are definitely going to be able to make their way into the mid much better than Valinor's are. However, the angle that Valinor has is actually pretty good. However, he is losing his unit clump right here. A lot of them are dying. Quite a lot of salvage debris there, or potential salvage debris. And Valinor now just with a single Longhorn dropped behind these enemy Longhorn, slightly draw the fire away from his from his friendly clump, but get killed very, very quickly. mrnoone1 with just enough creeps now to retake this outpost, and Valinor goes, I'm confused. I'm not really sure what he's confused about, but maybe he's a little bit confused as to why that didn't work. I don't think he had the unit. How did your tanks? Let's see what he says. I'm not really sure, but this, you know, as a custom game, this is a friendly game. They are just playing for, not necessarily for the. Oh, and Valinor grabbing that lockbox. Definitely, mrnoone1's not going to be denying that. Valinor has been able to move it just a little bit further than the initial spawn point. So let's see if he can actually take it. It's a little interesting that. And mrnoone1 says your tanks kept targeting the post when the creeps walked in. And so that's how his tanks survived. And now Valinor grabbing that lockbox, from the enemy side. I don't know if he's actually going to plan to take it from his side or not, but he is grabbing it from what is typically considered to be the enemy side, because your close outpost is, you know, right there, as opposed to the enemy outpost is going to be, you know, not really directly accessible from land. mrnoone getting killed by Valinor once again. And Valinor losing a Longhorn, not able to finish off that Bucky. That honeypot support is just a little bit crazy. And mrnoone now with 61,000 credits in his bank, and now finally starting to upgrade his abilities, and does have a Blaster Guardian in queue. Valinor now starting to pull back his units now. It has 52. It is 52 to 56, so it is pretty dang even on the field at this point. And now Valinor sending out Jackals. I'm assuming he's going to stop them at some point. No, he is just going to send them straight out. Not going to stop them or set them on hold position. Might be for distraction purposes. Does have the second lockbox, so probably will start to build even more and more, you know, direct arming units. He has 78 unit cap. That's, I don't know, that's we've got to figure out a better term for that, but 78 unit cap versus mrnoone 67. So once they both max out, Valinor will definitely have the unit advantage, and now Valinor going to start creating a secret cluster of units there. I'm assuming for an eventual side push that it's very, very unlikely mrnoone will scout, just looking at how this fight is going, where all the action is, where Valinor is trying to keep the pressure on. He's trying to keep the pressure on the mid, and mrnoone's not really controlling where the action is going. However, he is definitely making great strides toward, you know, clearing Valinor's line of units. It is 59 to 62. It is still pretty even right now. However, you do have to consider that Valinor, a lot of Valinor's upkeep is in that hidden unit cluster there on the right side. So let's see if mrnoone can actually take advantage of this. He definitely has more units here in this, I don't know what you can call this. This is really just I don't know, a standoff fight that it is right now. So horizontal. Although technically, right now on the screen it's vertical. It's just very, very parallel lines of units. And Valinor trying to finish units off here, dropping a Longhorn behind the enemy tanks, but not actually able to kill anything. Those honeypots are really, really crazy at keeping the units alive, and I'm not really sure why he's actually continually dropping the Longhorn. I mean, it's very, very likely that he wants to keep mrnoone over here. He does not want mrnoone to detect that secret push. And I don't know if mrnoone just saw that. He flew to right about here, so this is the center of the screen. I don't think that mrnoone actually saw that. He's probably just trying to scout what Valinor has here, and he definitely does see it on his minimap, but I don't know if he actually notices it on his main screen right now. Does have 4 SAMs neutralize that outpost, and they'll probably will be able to survive in those infantry slots because SAMs have so much health. He does take it under his control, but it will go right back down because of all those surrounding Longhorn, and now mrnoone gets killed one more time at Valinor, and Valinor might actually be able to use this opportunity to move up even closer now. Just going to be circling and bringing these units faster up and up even faster. And now definitely has been able to move up, but they have been losing units at about the same rate. Has mrnoone rebuilt his moneymakers? No, he does not have any rebuilt moneymakers out on the field from the, you know, the back moneymakers that were killed, and even that front left socket, which is usually pretty safe in this mid fight, it does not have anything on it, not even a honeypot. I would expect at least something on that. Typically, you do put a moneymaker because by the time it does get killed, you have made up your cost already, and now mrnoone, opponentless, is that a word? Opponentless, but does not have Valinor on the field after getting that kill, is going to start to move up even more. There are only 3 Longhorn up here. He could probably even kill them just by dropping behind and just shooting them from the back, but now Valinor is back to the fight, going to be able to retake this outpost with those creeps. Oh no, actually only 2 creeps are there. And Valinor starts to come back from the close, and mrnoone dropping a couple SAMs there. He does have 1 SAM in that infantry slot, probably knocked down by now. Yes, it does. It has been knocked down, and the SAMs are now, oh, mrnoone with more SAMs in his build queue, so let's see if he can actually drop. Oh no, he did get knocked down right in time. So if mrnoone was able to drop those SAMs for that, actually take that outpost, he would have been able to bunker those SAMs, and that would have been a very, very heavily fortified outpost. But now Valinor brings creeps just in time to take it back, and mrnoone barely gets finished off by Valinor, almost getting back to that outpost, but Valinor with those well-timed rockets able to finish off mrnoone in the air. And now Mr. No One was still with quite a lot of credits. Valinor with a lot of credits as well. We are in, I mean, no Moneymaker build. I've posted a couple before, again, involving Valinor and Tangibility. I've posted some no Moneymaker games before, but at that point that we did not have the incredibly high income that we do in these current builds. So, I mean, now, as you can see, Valinor doesn't have any Moneymakers out on the field, but does have generators on the field. So in terms of the unit cap, it is pretty even. It's 67 to 75, so Valinor out edges Mr. No One by 8, which isn't a huge amount, but is probably enough to, I don't know if it's if it can actually overwhelm the defender's advantage in a very, very even fight. But at this point, they don't really. I mean, Valinor is still floating 26,000 credits, so it's not like he really needs the the moneymakers out on the field, which is why Mr. No One is doing just fine as well. However, he is not able to spam the way that you might be used to seeing in the current build. With the current play styles, and Mr. No now with the Longhorn drop at the corner. The corner is the weak spot now, ladies and gentlemen. You must read patch notes. I actually didn't know for I casted like 3 games and I wasn't even aware of that because I kind of skimmed patch notes and didn't really pay attention. But I did finally read the patch notes a few days ago, and yes, the corners are the weak spot on the forts now. They do take double damage and not the front door anymore. And now Valinor with 5-6 now Longhorn on that right lane. Mr. No One approaching this unit cluster here, that is protected by Sonya. Valinor does see those vulnerable artillery and does land to kill them, but Mr. No One recognizes that and does lift them off just in time. And now Mr. No One with another Longhorn here, but it is not attacking the corner, it is attacking the front door. Valinor bringing out 2 more generators, so I think he is generator, or full on his sockets with generators. I'm not really sure about the last stand outpost. No, it is not. So he still has 2 sockets that still can take generators, and it's still 67 to 75 in terms of cap, and Valinor is pretty much at that cap at this point. Mr. No One is at his cap as well, so Valinor does have more units out of the field, at least in value of upkeep, than Mr. No One does, and Mr. No One getting killed once again. A little bit of an overextension there, trying to harass, and now Valinor going to be able to stack up even more Longhorn. There are still two open slots that he was able to, and Mr. No One thought he got killed by bombs, but there are still 2 open sockets that he can that he can drop those generators into, and he does just that. Now his unit cap is at 81. I think it's 3 units per, your unit cap goes up by 3 per generator on a socket, I think. I'm pretty sure that's it. And now Valinor able to have much more units than Mr. No One at this point. Mr. No One is at 72 to 67. No, can only spend his credits on abilities at this point. And now Valinor just flying around, taking a quick scout. I don't think Mr. No One has really seen that hidden unit cluster there. Oh, and I don't know if he was trying to, maybe he was trying to position them here. I mean, they would have been finished off by the goalies really quick anyway. But, oh yeah, Mr. No One definitely does see it, but I don't know, it's probably too late. That is a lot of units. Mr. No One definitely has to prepare for that. But the thing is, Valinor could do a Y switch to T or just a straight Y to the fort, so it's really hard to really detect where you need to put that, where you need to put your units in defense, even though you know it's coming. Mr. No One clearing the Gorgon. I'm not really sure why he's clearing the Gorgon on the enemy side, especially because he knows that Valinor has that huge cluster of units over there. God, that's something like 12, 13 Longhorn. And Seekers to support. So, Mr. No One, why are you finishing off the Goliaths that'll soften up Valinor's Longhorn push? That is really weird. Maybe he wants to put his defenses there instead. But I mean, if it were me, I would have maybe either put it here or something like that, because you never really know what lane they are going to take. Usually they go all. Oh, they are already going past. Wow, I completely missed that send. They are going way past, and Mr. No One's defenses are way out of position. He definitely does not have enough to stop this. Oh man, I think this is actually going to be GG. Mr. No One was able to neutralize his outpost with SAMs, but at this point, Mr. No One has no unit cap left. He is just trying to defend with the Longhorn that he can bring out of his queue right now, but there are so many Longhorn coming now for his support. This is probably going to be the death push, and now Valinor supporting it with even more Longhorn. Mr. No One's going to either be crippled at this point or have lost enough to, or either that or crippled or finished off completely. Probably should focus on killing these Longhorn instead of blocking and already calling out the GGWP. So many Longhorn at his fort. Might have just wanted to position those Longhorn in defense behind the Longhorn here so they wouldn't get focused down. They would actually try to kill these Longhorn. I mean, at that point, it's not really, it's either take a lot of damage or die, so maybe he wanted to focus on taking damage instead. I mean, whether or not that would have actually saved him is a different question, but Valinor getting this win over mrnoone1 on Duel with no moneymakers in his build. Plenty of credits, so it's definitely viable to go all gen as long as you're kind of willing to take a hit in the early game. But if you're willing to, you know, to not necessarily turtle, even if you want to, you can turtle. But even if you're willing to play a more static game at the beginning, not really go out and push, or move out or leapfrog like crazy, conserve your units more and wait for that huge advantage in unit cap and units out on the field, which is what Valinor did. And was able to eventually mass up so many Longhorn there, go for the side push, finish off mrnoone1 in one fell swoop, and that was that, folks. mrnoone1 going down defeat over, that's actually, that doesn't actually make any sense, but Valinor getting this win on Duel. So guys, if you have any replays to send to me, send me ruizerex@gmail.com. I'm not sure if I'm going to go with the watch more screen this time or not. I know you guys have been super confused all the time, but I'm just going to say send me replays because I need more content. 2-star Mavericks, gotta love those. So guys, this is RUI, and that's game. See you next time.